The Chris Top program is just moments away. Today, before I get started, I just want to explain something. The show is normally very lighthearted. It's normally very fun. Today we'll start out like that, and it's going to be a real quick show today because I'm really pressed for time. But some things have happened, and if you've been paying attention to the news at all, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And especially if you're a parent, it's difficult. It really is. It's difficult news, but we'll talk about that when the show gets started. And I just appreciate you for being here.
It's more hip than you might think to be a dork, kiddies. Let's take a gander at little emo Timmy. Just take a look at those arms. I don't think little emo Timmy should be allowed to play with any sharp objects for the rest of his life. How about you? Billy the Jock is riddled with herpes because of all those naughty cheerleaders. How do those pom-poms look now, kids? I think Bobby the Geek is going to live in his mom's basement for the rest of his life. I'll bet you he'll have a nice collection of tourists in his fridge by the time he's 30. Be a dork, be proud, be hip.
Hi, I'm Chris Top. First off, I want to thank you for tuning into the Chris Top program. While I try my best to keep the show as rated PG-13 as possible, sometimes things slip out, or sometimes things happen, and that's just the way live radio goes. And because this is the internet, the FCC isn't around to tell me what I can and can't do. So because of the occasional slip-up or the guest that might get out of hand, you really need to be 18 or older to listen. If you happen to be under 18, please make sure you get your parents' permission. Portions of the day's programming are reproduced by means of electrical transcriptions or tape recordings.
You can either talk in the Chris Top program.
I am the one and only Chris Top.
You can either talk in the Chris Top program.
Broadcasting live from my lavish studio apartment.
The VCR and the DVD, there wasn't that a black back in 1970. We didn't know about the World War Web was a whole different game being played back when I was a kid. Wanna get down in a cool way, picture yourself on a beautiful day. Big bell bottoms and cool long hair, just walking in style with a portable MP3 play. You can listen to the music on the Chris Top program. Chris Top program. You can hear the music on the Chris Top program. Chris Top program. Wanna hear the music on the Chris Top program.
This is the Chris Top program. And I am the one and only Chris Top, broadcasting live from my lavish studio apartment here in sunny Clarksville, Tennessee. How is everybody today? You know, we've had some bad news. We've had some really bad news in America, and I'm going to touch on that the second part of the show. My show is literally going to be maybe 30 minutes. Just because, I'd planned just a happy show tonight. I was going to spend about an hour and a half on the air just because I miss you guys so much. And I've been called away. I have to actually leave here in about 30 minutes, something like that. So anyway, I did a lot of prep, and I wanted to squeeze something in, and then the other story came across, so my whole show's been flipped upside down, and I don't know a whole lot about the topic yet, and nobody really does. But I'm going to tell you what I know, and I'm going to tell you my feelings on it. And it's the same across the world. I was going to say America, but I'm sure everybody feels the same across the world, just shocked and sorry that it happened. I would like to welcome some people to the chat. We've got Love Muffin in here, a.k.a. Jen. We've also got Ryan in the chat. It's good to see you guys. And we have John Gonzalez. It's nice to see everybody. I appreciate you guys for showing up, because I'm not on a lot anymore, and it's nice to see some of the regulars come in. It makes me feel good. It really does. Now, I'm just going to be normal. As normal as I can be. The first few minutes of the show. And I came across this story a couple of days ago, and I thought this was really cool. So I wanted to share it with you guys. And stuff like this will really get you into the Christmas spirit. It really will. And You know, one thing that I hate, I really hate this one thing about corporate America. The fact that they're forcing people to say happy holidays instead of what they celebrate. If someone came up to me and said happy Hanukkah, I would be cool with that. If somebody said have a Merry Kwanzaa, I would be cool with that. It wouldn't bother me a bit. I wouldn't be offended. I would just return a Merry Christmas because I happen to celebrate Christmas. You know what we could do? We could just wish everybody a very happy Ramahana Kwanzmas. And we've talked about this before. That kind of covers all the bases, but that's not what I'm going to talk about. Anyway, it's a lot easier to think of a name for someone who maybe doesn't have the Christmas spirit. There's the Grinch, the Scrooge, etc., things like that. But then on the flip side, it's a little harder to, I think, characterize people who epitomize it best. There was an anonymous donor who left a gold coin in a Salvation Army kettle in upstate New York. The coin was wrapped in a $100 bill. The coin itself was worth $500. See, these people are truly good. It's not like they donated a bunch of money and said, hey, look at me, this is who I am. This person anonymously wrapped a $500 coin into a $100 bill and placed it into a Salvation Army pot. Is that not cool? Now, the Salvation Army, they say officials said that over 400 gold coins have been found in kettles over the past 30 years. To me, that is just amazing. I mean, if you sit here and think about it long enough, it could really bring a tear to your eye. And I don't know if it's, man, I am emotional today. I am so, and I think it's because of what's happened. But anyway, I'm gonna get through the show. Up until about 1968, the United States had a plan on what to do if the president was killed or disappeared during an attack. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. It was a very calm, measured response. I'm just kidding. It wasn't at all. It basically amounted to a nuke the world scenario. And I'm not joking. According to the newly declassified documents, see, and I'm thinking there's some things that our country probably just should not ever declassify. The U.S. policy was to launch a full nuclear response against both the Soviet Union and China. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what if the president, maybe he gets up during a dinner party and say he's got diarrhea. Say he goes to the bathroom and he's gone like an hour. Does everybody freak out at that point and nuke China? Just because the president had diarrhea? But they don't do that anymore. Lyndon Johnson actually changed the policy. And that was because members of his cabinet advised that the policy was dangerous. Really? You think it was dangerous? I don't know. I just don't understand sometimes. I don't. What's going on in the chat? Is it Boxing Day? See, I don't keep up with sports or boxing. I don't. I brought up diarrhea was the first thing that came to mind. Because I was thinking, why would the president be gone? And no, see, because that's one of those things that it'll keep you away for a while. Plus, you don't really want to say, hey, excuse me, guys, I have diarrhea. I'm going to go to the presidential toilet and use that, and I'll be back as soon as I can. See, it's not something that he would voice to the world. Maybe I should have picked something else. I don't know. Okay, I've got a very special birthday announcement today. I've got a good friend, Kate Lockwell, and it is Kate's birthday today. So in Chris Top style, it sounded like I said Chris Stop. In Chris Top style, I'd like to wish Kate a very, very happy birthday. You know, okay, I'm just going to shut up.
Once a year we celebrate with stupid hats and plastic plates. The fact that you were able to make another trip around the sun. And the whole clan gathers round and gifts and laughter do abound. And we let out a joyful sound and sing that stupid song. Happy birthday, now you're 1 year older. Happy birthday, your life still isn't over. Happy birthday, you did not accomplish much, but you didn't die this year, I guess that's good enough.
So let's drink to your fading health and hope you don't remind yourself your chance of finding fame and wealth decrease with every year. Does it feel like you're doing laps and eating food and taking naps and hoping that someday perhaps your life will hold some cheer? Happy birthday! What have you done that matters? Happy birthday! You're starting to get fatter. Happy birthday! It's downhill from now on. Try not to remind yourself your best years are all gone.
If cryogenics were all free, then you could live like Walt Disney and live for all eternity inside a block of ice. But instead your time is set, this is the only life you get. And though it hasn't ended yet, sometimes you wish it might. Happy birthday! You wish you had more money. Happy birthday! Your life's so sad it's funny. Happy birthday! How much more can you take? But your friends are hungry, so just cut the stupid cake. Happy birthday! Happy birthday! Happy birthday, dear.
And in case you just tuned in, I don't just randomly play happy birthday songs. This is actually for my good friend Kate Lockwell. We're not finished yet.
Happy birthday to you. A happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
Insert birthday recipient name year.
Happy birthday to you.
And you know, one more.
Gentlemen, drive carefully. Good night.
All right, I'm sorry. One more. I think the best birthday present anyone could ever get is a trip to Chuck E. Cheese. So, Kate, we'd all like to accompany you to Chuck E. Cheese, if that's okay. I mean, if you like Chuck E. Cheese. If you don't like it, just go for me.
Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday. 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 Birthday. Chuck E. Cheese. Birthday. Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday. Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday. Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday. Birthday. Chuck E. Cheese.
All right, enough of the birthday wishes. Enough of those crazy birthday wishes. Now, I'm going to take just a quick break. And like I said, this is a very short show today. I've only got a few minutes left. I do want to touch bases on what I think is the evil that took place in Connecticut this morning. So we're going to talk about that for just a little while, and I'm going to end the show because I have to go. I need to leave probably in the next 15, 20 minutes or so. And I apologize. I had planned on staying an hour and a half today or so, but I can't. I do have to go. But when I come back, things are going to get a little serious. So I understand if you don't want to stick around because that's not what you usually tune in for here on the Chris Top program. I get it. I'll be fine. But we'll be back in just a second.
You can either talk in the Chris Top program.
Calling all dorks. Calling all dorks. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be cool? How it feels like to actually talk to chicks and not be ignored? Then you need to tune in every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time and listen to the Rob Aguilar Show, where we're going to talk about sex. That's right. Sex. I know you guys think about that, what it feels like to actually have sex with someone. We're going to talk about sports, women, entertainment, all the things you've been wondering about. So tune in every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and listen to the Rob Aguilar Show.
Take it from the top, take it from the top, take it from the top.
The Chris Top program, listened to by tens of thousands of people, with podcasts on over 30 sites worldwide, but only live on Spreaker.com.
Take it from the top. Take it from the top.
was wondering, are you going to eat that?
Take it from the top.
No, I swear, you burn calories while you're listening to my show. Lots of calories. It's like setting a fat kid on fire. No, it's not WOBA, it's WABA. WABA. Dude, my neighbor just busted me stealing his Wi-Fi. I've got to end the show now.
The Chris Top Program. Join the best chat on Spreaker.com.
I'd like to welcome Supersonic 94.8 to the chat. It's good to see you, Simon. It's always a pleasure. He says, I thought you moved on to bigger and better things. I still come around. I still try to broadcast when I can. I miss you guys, and I hate it that I can't stay longer today. I really do. I've got about 15 more minutes, and I want to bring up something that I couldn't just let slip by. I had another show prepped, and I threw it away, and I want to talk for a minute about what happened today in Connecticut. And it's not just an American thing, it's a worldwide thing. I think it touches everybody, and I don't care who you are. If you're a parent, if you're a child, teenager, I think it touches everybody. I want you just to close your eyes for a second. I want you to think about this. Think about your child or your brother or your sister, your niece or your nephew. They get up in the morning, they brush their teeth, they comb their hair, they've got sleepy eyes. They run out to catch the bus. They joke and they talk on the way to school. Some of the kids have their head laid down on the seat in front of them because they didn't get enough sleep the night before. Maybe they stayed up too late playing video games. And you know what they're talking about. They're all talking about Christmas. They're talking about that magical day of the year where they wake up in the morning at 3 or 4 a.m. and they run to the den and they see all the presents that Santa left them under the tree. These are the kinds of conversations these kids are having. They may be taking tests. They may be wrapping up the first part of the school year, and all they can think about is Christmas and what they're going to get. Excited kids on the way to school. Now imagine these kids sitting in class, watching the clock, waiting to go home. They hear loud gunshots. They smell smoke. They see their friends, their teachers, their principal falling to the ground around them. I'm not sure how long the shooting actually lasted. But I'm sure it seemed like an eternity to these kids. Imagine your son or your daughter, your niece or your nephew being led out of the school, past all of the dead bodies of their friends and their teachers and their principal. Adam Lanza allegedly shot and killed 26 people this morning in Newton, Connecticut, at an elementary school. His rifle that he used was originally designed for use in combat. He also had 2 handguns. A .223 caliber Bushmaster rifle was found at the scene. The Bushmaster is actually a type of a semi-automatic weapon. It was used by American troops during the Vietnam War. It can fire up to 6 bullets a second. They're used for combat. There's really no other reason for them. Adam Lanza. He's the son of a kindergarten teacher. Clad in black and carrying two 9mm pistols, rampaged through his mother's Connecticut elementary school this morning, killing 20 small children and 6 adults. Adam Lanza was found dead at the scene at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newton. He's also responsible for the death of an unidentified woman who had been fatally shot in the face at her home in Newton. Evil visited this community today, is what the Connecticut governor, Daniel Malloy, said. Some of the young survivors, ages 5 to 10, they described the terror of the shooting and a massive police response that included SWAT officers going room to room in search of victims as students huddled in classroom corners. Robert said his 6-year-old son was in class when the gunman burst in and shot the teacher. That's when my son grabbed a bunch of his friends and ran out the door. The gym teachers told us to go into the corner, so we huddled. I kept hearing these booming noises. We all started crying. All the gym teachers told us to go into the office where no one could find us. So then a police officer came in and told us to run outside. So we did, and we came in the firehouse. These are some quotes that I'm getting off of NBCnews.com if you want to go and look at it yourself. Two of the children were taken to Danbury Hospital, but they died. Third person was being treated at the hospital, which went into lockdown. They cleared the trauma rooms as doctors waited for just a stampede of survivors that never came. Everyone was in hysterics, parents, students. There were kids coming out of the school bloodied. I don't know if they were shot, but they were bloodied. One parent picking up his 7-year-old son said the shooting was the most terrifying moment a parent could imagine. Could you imagine that as a parent? As a parent, you're at work, it's a normal day. You're joking with your buddies, you're sitting at the computer, you're doing whatever you're doing. And maybe the first thing you see, you look up at the television or you hear it on the radio, there was a shooting at your son or daughter's elementary school. 20 kids dead. What's the first thing that goes through your mind? Am I going to see my son again? So you leave work, you don't even bother to tell anybody you're going. You grab your keys, you jump in the car, you drive there, and you wait. You see all the little faces come out of the school. Every time somebody comes toward the door, you just hope and pray to God that it's your child. It was the greatest relief in my existence, is what the father said. I'm just happy that my kid is okay. So what do you think, America? Seems like this stuff's happening a lot, huh? What do we do? What do we do? How do we prevent this kind of thing from happening? I think it all goes back to something that I was taught when I was growing up, that And I've said this on the show before, I think the most important piece of furniture in your house is the kitchen table. It's where you sit down at least, hopefully once or twice, 3 times a week with your family and you talk. You talk about what's going on. You talk about the world. You talk about what's troubling each other. We have to stay in touch. We have to communicate. Because I guarantee in the next day or 2 days or the next week, we're going to find out people knew this was going to happen. Just the right people didn't know. The right people didn't hear the news through the grapevine. We just have to talk. We just have to learn to communicate again. I'm not talking about text messaging or tweeting I mean a face-to-face conversation. That's where it starts. That's how we stop this kind of stuff. It's not rocket science. It's really not. We're just out of touch. Something else happened today, too, and I don't know if you've heard about this or not. I didn't want to bring one up without the other, but Chinese state media sources, they reported a knife-wielding man slashed 22 children at an elementary school. The man attacked the children at the gate of a school, and he also wounded one adult. Police arrested a 36-year-old man identified, I don't know how to pronounce his name, and they don't know the extent of the injuries that were inflicted. But thank God there were no fatalities in this incident. Stuff like this is happening all around the world. And it seems like it's happening more and more all the time. And I really do feel like it's as easy as talking to our families, talking to our kids, knowing our neighbors. I really do think it's that easy. It's not rocket science. It's really not. I do want to welcome a few people to the chat before I get out of here. And like I said, I do apologize. This isn't my typical show. I normally have a very upbeat, happy kind of show, but I couldn't ignore this today. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do a show and hide the fact that I knew what was going on. I'd like to welcome Storm to the chat. It's good to see you. Also, we have Latilia. Is that how you say your name? I'm not sure. But it's nice to have you in the chat as well. And hopefully you guys will come back sometimes when things are a little more uplifting. But I do appreciate you guys sticking around. I do. I appreciate you saying. The saddest thing is those kids won't even get to see Christmas. And you know, I read too that some of the kids during the attack they were huddled somewhere in the school. They were hiding, and they were talking about how they were worried that they would die before Christmas. That's the you know, I was going to say that's the mind of a 5 or 10-year-old, but I think that would be on my mind as well, because if I was in the situation, I would think, well, am I going to get to see my kids this Christmas? Am I going to be dead? Is their dad not going to be around? So I guess what was going through their mind was pretty normal. And also, Latilia, I hope I'm saying your name right. I hope I'm not butchering it. But she said, and to be a parent and knowing your child is coming home, I don't know what I'd do. It's a tough situation. It really is. I'd like to say hi to ATWA. Good to see you in the chat. I'm actually about to get out of here. I've got to go. I've got to be somewhere at 8 o'clock, and I was going to do a longer show, but I just wanted to get on here and bring this up. And I'm sure most of you have heard about it, but I love to broadcast. I love to get on here and rant and rave and talk, and I just couldn't let this slip by. I couldn't do it. But I do have to go. And once again, I'd like to welcome Stephen Fletcher to the chat. People, I keep seeing people in the chat. It's good to see you, Stephen. There's another site that I frequent. It's a game that I play. It's called War Tunes, and these are some of my friends from the game. Stephen's name on the game is I'd Hit It. But thank you, Stephen, for coming by and checking the show out. But I promise you guys, the show is usually a lot more fun. I had to talk about this. And I appreciate that, Simon. I really do. And it was nice meeting you, High Five Radio. It really and truly was. So, guys, I have to go, and I don't want to, but I do. And I'm going to leave you like I always do. And when I say this, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I truly do. Truly, truly do. Until I broadcast again, please remember this. Life is good. And I'm gone. It may not always seem good. It may not always seem perfect, but it is. It really is.
Is it over yet?
Completely over.
You have been exposed to the Chris Top program.
Yeah, okay, are we done? I really gotta get a life.
Take it from the top.